Power is a game played not only on the grand stage of empires and governments but in every whisper, glance, and subtle movement between people. It is a silent current running beneath the surface of human interaction, invisible to those who lack the eyes to see it. In this age of information, distraction, and endless noise, the true master of power is one who controls not merely what others do, but what they believe, desire, and fear. The modern world demands a new kind of tactician, one who understands that power no longer wears the blunt armor of force but moves in shadows, through psychology and manipulation. To wield such power is to become a puppeteer of minds, a strategist of human nature, bending the will of others to your design without leaving a trace. This is the art Machiavelli perfected centuries ago and the art that remains eternally relevant for those willing to study the dark depths of control. At the heart of this art lies a ruthless understanding of human psychology, the deep currents that drive behavior beneath the conscious surface. Humans are creatures of emotion cloaked in rationality, but it is emotion that fuels their choices, governs their loyalties, and ultimately decides their fate under the influence of power. Fear and desire, love and hatred, pride and shame, these are the tools of manipulation, the levers a master pulls with precision. The first step to mastering power is to see these forces as they truly are, not weaknesses, but gateways to control. To manipulate effectively is to become fluent in the language of the human psyche, to map the hidden desires and anxieties that define every interaction. Those who fail to understand this remain slaves to others' wills, forever grasping at fleeting respect and empty admiration. Control begins within. The man or woman who cannot govern their own emotions, impulses, and reactions will find no dominion over others. Strength of mind is the foundation upon which all power rests, a fortress of detachment and self-mastery that shields the wielder from vulnerability. Unpredictability becomes a weapon. By defying expectations, you create discomfort in others, and discomfort breeds control. Your reputation, carefully cultivated and sometimes ruthlessly protected, becomes an extension of your power, a psychological mask that influences perception before a word is spoken. The image you project, whether as a benevolent leader or merciless strategist, commands allegiance or fear, shaping the battlefield of social interaction. True manipulation thrives in subtlety. The bold and obvious are easily resisted, it is the hidden knife that cuts deepest. Concealing your true intentions, letting others believe they steer the course while you guide from the shadows, is the essence of strategic influence. Timing is as important as the act itself. Knowing when to strike, when to pause, and when to retreat turns any plan into a masterpiece of psychological warfare. Language is no mere communication but a tool for planting ideas, suggestions, and doubts that grow like roots unseen. Silence can be a threat louder than words, and suggestion can open doors to obedience without a single command. Navigating the social landscape requires the keen eye of a chess master. Every person you meet is a piece to be moved, whether pawn, knight, or queen. Allies are valuable, but temporary. Enemies are inevitable and must be managed with care. Creating dependency through favors, secrets, or charisma weaves a web that entangles others in your influence. Reputation spreads faster than truth, and rumors become weapons to control narrative and perception. The social network is a battlefield where power is won not only by direct confrontation but through the shaping of beliefs and alliances. In the modern world, power manifests not only in political halls or corporate offices but in the digital shadows where influence can be wielded anonymously and swiftly. Understanding the psychological triggers behind mass behavior, social proof, and emotional contagion allows the Machiavellian to manipulate crowds and individuals alike. Psychological warfare today is a game of memes, data, and attention, currency more valuable than gold. Those who master this new realm command influence that transcends borders and ideology. Morality, often seen as a constraint, is in fact another tool in the art of power. Masks of virtue can disguise ruthless intent, disarming resistance and winning trust. To appear honorable while acting decisively is the paradox every Machiavellian must master. But the risk is losing oneself in the pursuit of control. Balance is essential. Without self-awareness and restraint, power consumes even its most skilled wielders. Ultimately, the art of power is not domination through brute force but mastery of minds, both others and your own. It is an ongoing dance of influence, perception, and timing that demands patience, cunning, and psychological insight. To control and manipulate everyone is to become the architect of reality itself, shaping the world in the image of your will. Power is never static, it flows, shifts, and requires constant renewal. Those who believe it is a prize to be won once and held forever are doomed to fall. In the modern arena, power is dynamic, a living force that must be cultivated daily through subtle psychological maneuvering. The first essential truth for any aspiring master is this: humans crave certainty but are easily unsettled by ambiguity. To control others, you must learn to manipulate this tension. Offer just enough clarity to build trust, then wield ambiguity as a tool to sow doubt and hesitation in your opponents. When people are unsure, they seek guidance, and that is your moment to lead them, invisibly guiding decisions while they believe themselves free. Understanding fear is key. Fear is the most primitive, visceral response, rooted deep in the survival instincts of the brain. It can paralyze, provoke aggression, or force submission. Yet fear alone is a double-edged sword. Too much fear breeds rebellion, too little dissolves control. The Machiavellian art is in modulating fear like a conductor guides an orchestra, sometimes a quiet note, sometimes a sharp crescendo, always calibrated to your advantage. Fear of loss, fear of exclusion, fear of the unknown, these are potent weapons. The promise of safety and stability offers relief, a psychological anchor to your power. If you can position yourself as the only harbor from chaos, others will bind their fate to your will. Desire, the opposite pole of fear, is equally powerful. Humans are driven not just to avoid pain but to pursue pleasure, status, and validation. These cravings open windows into their souls, revealing the strings you must pull. The Machiavellian manipulator does not promise false pleasures but exploits the authentic desires others refuse to admit. Ambition, love, respect, and the hunger for meaning become your tools for influence. By reflecting and amplifying these desires, you embed yourself in the psyche of others, becoming indispensable. Your power grows not through coercion but through being the source of what others seek most, making them dependent on your presence and approval. Yet people are not simple machines. Beneath the surface lies a complex web of conscious and unconscious motives, contradictions, and defenses. To master manipulation is to learn how to navigate this labyrinth without losing yourself. This demands psychological finesse, recognizing when to push and when to retreat, when to provoke jealousy or inspire loyalty, when to show strength or feign weakness. The most effective power players are those who wear masks, not to deceive recklessly but to adapt fluidly to each situation. This chameleon-like ability prevents predictability and protects your true intentions from exposure. The less others know about your real agenda, the greater your control. A crucial component of this psychological warfare is managing perceptions. Reality is less important than what others perceive as reality. Perception shapes belief, belief dictates behavior, and behavior changes power dynamics. Cultivate your image deliberately. Every word, gesture, and silence is a brushstroke in the portrait others paint of you. People are drawn to those who appear confident, composed, and enigmatic. Vulnerability is a crack in the armor, guard it fiercely. By controlling how others see you, you become a force of suggestion, planting ideas and expectations that shape their actions without direct confrontation. Communication in this dance of power transcends mere words. Language becomes a weapon of suggestion, capable of planting seeds of doubt or hope. Silence is equally potent, forcing others to fill the void with their insecurities or assumptions. Listen more than you speak. In silence lies control. The careful choice of when to reveal information, when to withhold, and when to misdirect separates the novice from the master. The power of suggestion bypasses rational defenses and implants ideas in the subconscious, leading others to act as if by their own free will, while you pull the strings. Building alliances is another psychological battleground. Allies can bolster your power, but trust is a fragile commodity. The Machiavellian understands that relationships are transactional and never fully reciprocal. Each alliance is a temporary contract, a calculated exchange of benefit rather than sentimental loyalty. To maintain influence, create interdependence, make allies reliant on your resources, knowledge, or status so their survival intertwines with your favor. Simultaneously, cultivate ambiguity in alliances to prevent complacency or betrayal. This balance keeps others off guard and maintains your upper hand. Equally important is the management of enemies. Open confrontation may be necessary at times, but more often psychological manipulation, spreading doubt, exploiting rival weaknesses, and turning enemies into unwitting tools, wins the day. Psychological intimidation, rumors, and social isolation fracture opposition without the need for direct conflict. The goal is not always to destroy but to neutralize and control the narrative surrounding your adversaries. Mastering this subtle war of influence expands your power without exhausting your resources or reputation. In the digital age, power's battleground extends into unseen realms. Social media, data, and networks magnify psychological influence exponentially. The public persona is fragmented into countless digital reflections, each a potential lever of control. Mastery here requires understanding how attention is captured and manipulated through emotional triggers, outrage, fear, desire for validation. Viral content becomes a tool of mass psychological influence, shaping perceptions and behaviors en masse. Those who learn to control these digital levers become modern Machiavellis, directing crowds with the flick of a finger, their influence transcending geography and traditional authority. Ethics, often considered a limitation, can be reframed as a strategic tool. The appearance of morality disarms suspicion and builds trust, even when your true actions serve personal ambition. To wield power effectively, one must understand the psychological need for moral consistency in others, and leverage it to mask manipulation. This doesn't require hypocrisy but the skillful alignment of your persona with the expectations and values of your audience. When people see you as honorable, they lower their defenses, creating openings for influence previously closed. This delicate dance between virtue and vice is the hallmark of Machiavellian brilliance. Yet even the most adept manipulator must beware of the corrosive nature of power. The psychological toll of constant deception, the erosion of genuine connection, and the isolation of dominance can imprison the wielder in a self-made cage. True mastery requires balancing power with self-awareness, maintaining control not only over others but over one's own shadow, the dark impulses and fears that power awakens within. Without this inner vigilance, the pursuit of control becomes self-destructive, leading to paranoia, recklessness, or collapse. The art of power is thus a lifelong psychological journey, a delicate equilibrium of influence, perception, and restraint. To control and manipulate everyone is to enter a world of infinite complexity, where victory depends not on brute force but on understanding the labyrinthine workings of the human mind. Those who master this art become architects of reality, shaping not only the world around them but the very thoughts and emotions that drive human action. The modern Machiavelli does not seize power with sword or decree but with psychological insight, subtlety, and patience, forever adapting to the shifting currents of human nature.